Since the day we're born, most of us mortals seek our own benefit, for pleasure or for pride. And yet there are few who set aside their selfish wishes, their passions, or ambitions, even as far as risking their own lives to make sure those they cherish most go on living. The deeds of these few among us shine bright, and one such guiding light of days past was the woman Alcestis, the beautiful and graceful daughter of Peleus, the Greek king of Iolcos in Thessaly. She married Admetus, the ruler of the city of Pherae, a husband she loved, to her death. The tale told of their undying love begins with a conflict between two mighty gods, a father and a son. Zeus had killed Apollo's son Asclepius with the flash of a thunderbolt, and Apollo, in turn, had murdered the Cyclopes, crafters of the thunderbolt, whom the king of the gods held dearly in his heart. As a punishment, and to be purified from his crime, Apollo was sent by Zeus to Pherae in Thessaly, to the house of the king Admetus, to perform labors until his divine soul was pure once again. Admetus was a generous host, and Apollo came to regard him as a true friend. He helped him win the hand of the princess Alcestis in a joyful marriage, and he even went so far as to trick death and the fates, to ensure that when Admetus met his appointed time to die, he was allowed a substitute who would die willingly in his place and grant him a longer life. But it was Admetus's own task to find his replacement for the house of Hades. The king had many friends who denied his request, and even his aged parents refused to sacrifice themselves for their son. It was only his beloved wife, the tender and kind Alcestis, who pledged herself to die and let her husband live, because she loved him more than anything else in the world. It is here that the story is immortalized by Euripides of Athens, in his play that opens as the god Apollo visits Admetus's house once more, a few moments before death arrives to take Alcestis's soul with him to the underworld. As he leaves the home to not suffer the pollution of a mortal life ending, Apollo encounters death and tries to change his mind to spare the loving Alcestis. But he soon realizes that the matter is settled once and for all. But he threatens death that soon a hero of unseen power and courage will bring Alcestis back to the world of the living, and death will be fooled by the gods once more. Time will tell what fate has in store. Meanwhile, the sorrowing couple is in their bedroom for Alcestis's final hours, and Admetus refuses to understand the cause of their tragedy. The sun gazes down upon you and me, both of us in misery, who have done no deed against the gods to merit death. Alcestis says farewell to the world and bursts into tears as death beckons her to follow him. He drags me, he takes me away. Hades draws close. Deep night falls over my eyes forever. My children, my children. Never again shall your mother be yours. Farewell, my children. Live happy in the light of day. Before Alcestis breathes her last, she enjoins Admetus not to remarry, to bring a stepmother to their children, a stepmother who would love them less than she did for all her life. Admetus agrees, unhesitating, and Alcestis's eyes are shut forevermore. The tearful Admetus orders the funeral ceremony to be arranged in mourning for his lost wife, the woman who loved him the most. Never will I bury another so dear to me, never one who has loved me more. She deserves every honor, she who alone would lay down her life for mine. Soon after Alcestis has joined the realm of the dead, a new character appears on the mythic stage. The greatest of heroes in all the Greek world, the mighty Heracles, arrives at Admetus's palace after a challenge by his master Eurystheus of Tiryns, who ordered him to pursue the four-horsed chariot of Diomedes the Thracian. Arriving in Pherae, Heracles demands to see the ruler of this land, an old friend, and Admetus approaches. Heracles notices Admetus's short haircut and black dress, and wonders what could be the cause of such grief. But his friend avoids telling him the truth in a show of kind hospitality, as he has no wish to sadden his guest. Alcestis's funeral begins, and Pheres, Admetus's old father, appears to offer his condolences and express his gratitude for her sacrifice for his son's life. But Admetus grows furious because his father had refused sacrificing himself for his own son, and so led a young woman to her death instead, and condemned her children to a motherless life. You had no courage, not even willingness to die for your son. This you left to a woman, a stranger, and now she alone is the one I know as my father and my mother. A painful argument takes place between father and son. Pheres dismisses his outrage, since Admetus himself let his wife die in his place because of his wish for life, and this makes Admetus the greatest of cowards, and indeed his wife's killer. But Admetus keeps charging his father with the difference in ages, old and young, between his aged parents and the many years the couple would have had left before them. Do you see it the same to die an old man and in the bloom of life? Finally, Pheres threatens his son that Alcestis's brother would seek revenge, and Admetus cuts ties with his father in heartbroken cries. Grow old, as you ought to, without children, though you once had a son. You shall never see this house again. Pheres leaves the home. The funeral goes on, and the hero Heracles again enters the scene. After he finally learns the truth from one of his servants, the fact is revealed that Admetus's wife, Alcestis herself, is the one whom all Thessaly is weeping for on this grievous day. Heracles feels devastated on hearing this news for such a good and noble man as Admetus, and in return for the fine hospitality of the mourning husband, he makes a daring promise. He swears to bring Alcestis back from the land of the dead. He comes up with a plan. Either he will grab death in his strong arms while he is unawares drinking the blood of the sacrifices, and refuse to let him go until he releases Alcestis. Or Heracles will go down to Hades himself to beg the dreaded king and queen of the dead, Hades and Persephone, to set them all free, the loving wife from her tomb, and her husband and children from their grief. The hero prepares himself for a mission that transcends the boundaries of life and death, and he leaves the scene. After the burial rituals, Admetus returns to the palace and bursts into tears as he thinks on how empty his remaining life now seems. Whatever others may think, I know that my dear wife's fate is happier than mine. Where she is now, no sorrow can touch her again. But I, the one who should have died, I have escaped my fate, only to live out years of a wretched life. And it is here that great Heracles reappears in the palace. But now there is a veiled woman walking at his side. He meets the tearful Admetus and complains that his friend should have told him the truth about Alcestis from the start. And he introduces this mysterious young woman beneath the veil, claiming that he won her as a servant, as a prize of valor at a recent contest. He encourages Admetus earnestly that she could be the solution to his torment and the end of his grief. Let me tell you why I have turned back from my journey and am here again. Take and keep this woman for me, until I have slain the king of the Bistones and return here with the steeds of Thracian Diomedes. If bad fortune befalls me, I make her yours, to serve in your house. At first, Admetus, shocked as he is, turns Heracles' proposal down politely, claiming he would be mocked by both the living and the dead if he welcomed this young woman into his house at this time. However, Admetus can't hide his amazement about the clear resemblance of this veiled woman to his beloved wife. Woman, whoever you may be, you have the form of Alcestis, and your body is so like hers. Ah, by all the gods, take her away, away from my sight. When I look at her, she seems like my wife, and my heart is torn, and tears are flowing from my eyes. Heracles insists that he welcome this young woman to his house, and declares over and over again that he must build his life anew. But Admetus doesn't want to hear another word about it. So Heracles, more intently, offers the woman's hand to Admetus and strives again to persuade him to lead her into the palace. He claims that he will soon be grateful to him for this precious offering. Under Heracles' pressure, Admetus at last retreats and invites the veiled woman into the palace, calling upon the servants to guide her. But Heracles reminds him that he himself should take the woman inside. Admetus finally brings himself to put her hand in his, as the woman takes off her veil and reveals the face of none other than Alcestis herself, before him now in flesh and blood. Heracles joyously cries out as Admetus recognizes his wife, come back from the realm of the dead, hardly believing his eyes. Could the gods let such a miracle happen in any mortal's life? How blessed could he be to trick death for a second time? And how magnificent was their love that even the heavens couldn't bear to keep them apart, drowning in tragedy. At first, Admetus is skeptical whether this is merely a ghost or a sorceress, but soon Heracles assures him of his wife's presence. Admetus is overwhelmed with gladness. O face and form of you, most cherished of women! I have you once more, when I thought I would never see you again. He wants to know more about how Heracles accomplished this miracle, and the great hero tells him of his battle with death, and his victory over death, and how he made his foe release the poor woman's soul to rise again to the land of the living. The resurrected Alcestis can make no sound, and when Admetus wonders at her silence, Heracles tells him that 3 dawns must pass until her soul is fully purified from her consecration to the gods below. And when her living soul is complete, she will speak again, just as she once did. With his mission finished, and yet greater battles awaiting him, Heracles bids farewell to the joyful couple and moves on to completing his next labor. Admetus commands the people of his city to set a grand feast full of sacrifices and dances to celebrate his wife's return, and all the land rejoices as two lovers are reunited and the tale draws to a close. Does selfless, unconditional love truly exist? Stories like the sacrifice of Alcestis might remind us that there surely is such love in the world, and that we should all restlessly reach out to find it. To the eyes of Euripides, true love brings deep and enduring happiness, and even the approving rewards of the gods. And what is more godlike than a love that holds all things together and grants us strength and will to face every shadow in this mortal world?